not. I'm trying very hard.
In other words, do not take this. Your impression is do not take this any further. Let us.
My impression. Yes, my impression based on the conversation, and I'm disappointed. Okay. I'm disappointed because it just tells you.
Are these police officers you're saying? Or
no.
Others,
other persons. We won't name them at this time. But I'm not at liberty because of the.
But to be clear, these are not police officers.
Not police officers.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, when I got the information that I needed, I was quite disappointed because of the value placed on the young life lost and the price that people think they can put on certain people in certain communities, and that's the most I will say, because I'm not out to be in any drama with people, and that's why I never even go out there and say anything, right? I just took it as a cue to know how I'm going to deal with this matter after.
So at the United Nations level, and I remember when Jamaica went before the CERD, I think it was. Was it the CERD?
Yes, it was.
And
you mean the Rastafari community?
Yes.
Application that we.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, exactly. Right, but what Jamaica said at the time,
right,
is that what is happening now, what is playing out in Jamaica, and I hear you situating this within classism, to be sure.
Absolutely.
And I think we can go beyond racism. But it would appear to me, and I'm not quite sure Jamaica spoke, Jamaica copped to classism, but I know definitely that, the CERD was told that there's no racism on the island.
Yes. And they said a lot of other things. I recently read that exchange, by the way, for another project that I was doing. So it's quite fresh in my mind. We've moved from a conversation in the government, that is, and I'm not speaking about just the government of the day. You recall the conversation you and I had some years ago about the fact that they said we don't have any indigenous people here,
right,
and that was being written to the CERD like report after report up to 2021 or 2019, if my memory serves me correctly. And the CERD, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want to make this point. The CERD kept writing back to Jamaica to say, you need to broaden the definition of racial discrimination, as is in Article 1 of the CERD. And that is important, because let me tell you why. Racial discrimination, as is in our Constitution, not even racial discrimination, race, done. That's it.
Right.
Racial discrimination has a different kind of meaning and connotation. When you broaden it to direct and indirect, it comes to not just hue and color and those things, but the structural things, the things attached to the race. So poor black people live in Amobie. You're going to find poor black people living in certain parts.
Right.
They're based on that, they're going to be marginalized and stuff. This is how you have to look at racial construct.
Right.
It's not just about your color, your skin, and therefore you live in a predominantly black population, and so no racism can go on.
Right.
Which is what we say. You have to look at the facts of the thing when it comes to, yes, you live in a predominantly black population, so you now have to go structural.
Right.
You have to now start to say who you're going to find in certain places.
Right.
What is the racial fear? What can you now do? How the discrimination operate? Who going to get these jobs? You understand? So it's a more complex.
What is our current situation? Because Jamaica has been pushing back against this hard. I mean, whether it is at the CERD or it is right anywhere in Jamaica, or whatever microphone is taken. So what are you getting in terms of how, and this is not JLP or PNP, but how government, as you said earlier, it views this particular issue? Because Granville is a case in point.
Yes.
You come in running and shooting.
Right. And then, because you can say somebody that shoot.
Right.
But how is the right to life then in the Constitution guaranteed? Because let me tell you, in the said Constitution, there's a right to the child, right? The child has a right in the Constitution also, right? And it runs not just from the Jamaica Constitution, but Article 6 in particular of the Convention on the right.
Have we signed on to any of these things?
Of course.
Or we just know...
Article, no. We're very well under the Convention on the Right to the Child. That's where you have the advocate children and all of them, something, right? I'm saying Article 6 on the Convention says you must not just guarantee the right to life of the child, but also the development of the child et al. And I'm looking at it to say, because there's a committee, and I'm willing to take this matter wherever the family needs me to take it, because I understand the UN system, thankfully. So long before, and these committees say you must exhaust domestic remedies first. That's why you know, see me write a petition already.
Right.
So I'm saying these are guarantees and safeguards, guarantee not just at the local level, but the international. And it says that when these rights are breached, you have to, as the state party, because the rights, your human rights are not just vertical but horizontal, meaning the state has a duty, but you and me, Kabu, have a duty to not violate our human rights. And police and soldiers are agents of the state, and therefore the state must make sure that neither them or their agents are breaching people's human rights.
So how do we assess whether the state agencies are fulfilling or breaching, say, the rights of the child or human rights generally?
Well, I wouldn't.
Or the right to life, if you will.
I wouldn't say simple, but when you look at what the Constitution says, you have the right to life, and their safeguard is that the state should do everything in their power. When you look at the situation in Montego Bay, when you come into a community and just randomly shoot, you're not giving anybody any just regard to their life. And if it's
but this is a norm, isn't it?
But we have to break the. Well, I know you and I are on the same page, but I have to say it loud. We can't continue in the norm, though. I am not about this norm in this country. I am over it, and that's why some people may say I try to get involved in the difficult things. It's because without getting involved in it, you can't have change. I am having a fundamental problem with anybody who feel like they can treat somebody else less than.
Because we have normalized that,
right,
which is the thing.
You know what the young men said to me, Kabu, when I did my own investigation, and I'm saying it loosely, investigation. They said, Nene, you know, that's what they call me. They said, Nene, we'll have something for make you listen to. I'm going to say this publicly. Nene, we have something for make you listen to. I may say what? And them say, listen to this. When I listening is a recording of the night. The very night we're talking about. I'm going to tell you how bad it is in terms of how people fare and how they see themselves in certain communities defeated. That even when they have their rights, they are not going to want to activate it because they don't matter. These same young men, some of whom I did this legal literacy thing with, when they say, listen to this, I mean, listen. They say, what? This is the night of the shooting? This is the night? So why nobody not have this? Them say, because if we bring this to none of them probably turn around like we up. Them probably turn around. It's like they see themselves so much as a victim that even though they may have something.
This is evidence.
Even though they may have something that can add value to what is to the sese around the January 1, they are afraid to do anything. And I'm trying to explain to you the crippling effect of our own persons who say they are to serve and protect. They don't see themselves. I had to stand up in my mother's yard and talk on the top of my voice. This was whenever I landed and went down there. I had to, the Monday, while Indicom was down in the yard doing their investigation, I had to be standing up there to say to them, you are going to have to choose if you want to live like this, or you want, when police and soldiers coming into your community, they think twice and that they walk with their handbook as to how to treat with persons like you. You're going to have to choose. I had to do that. And then, of course, you know, I went and I said, you know, there's a chain of causation, etc. There's I can't take it on my phone, etc. And then I dealt with it properly.
So Indicom, does Indicom know about this?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Because I'm responsible enough to. It's not something. I'm just giving you an example of the crippling effect. Because these are some of the same young men who were there, were on the road. You understand?
Yeah. So a lot has been lost in the process, and this has been going on for a long time in terms of confidence, in terms of your humanness.
Absolutely.
In terms of how you see yourself as a what Rex Nettleford called somadification. Yeah. You understand? So here we are. I mean, outside of it, because we're also going through a geopolitical upheaval where the agencies that have been in place to that police, if you will, these rights that we're talking about are themselves being devalued, where America, the leading superpower right now, has even withdrawn from so many of them, 66 or 67 or 75 of them recently. And we're up to last night or yesterday we saw in Minnesota, just 2 weeks after a woman was gunned down, a man, a nurse, an ICU nurse was gunned down, and the posturing of the administration, which of course Jamaica, takes its cue from the United States, and we are already on that road. How does this impact your work? How does this impact the ability of even these very same agencies to police any of these things that we're talking about? Because when we talk about human rights, don't we going back to United Nations?
Yeah, but the funny thing is impact is so huge, because even me talking now, persons will take their posture and their cue because you must set things. I've tried my best to live above or outside of the so-called system that we're operating in. It means that I'm good. I'm good with talking now. It wasn't always like that, because I saw JFJ, for example, did a protest against the police. And then I saw a counter protest and a big online campaign, and nobody stopped to say parliamentarians are not voted in by themselves. They are voted in by people in the community. And I know I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to you, but I have to say this loud. They don't stop to break it down the way I break down my work. You're voted in by a constituency with actual people to make laws and to protect. And then based on who win, you become government. And based on that, somebody become prime minister, and somebody become whatever. You're in charge of agency, and you're in charge of, and the police who do training to do this service. If you break it down like that, you understand why it cannot be personal. Outside of it being personal to who is dead, etc. It means you have to activate the system, not your personality. And I find that every time you come out and say anything about recently, more than any time, and I'm being very objective here, every single time somebody doing them job, and a human rights activist, whatever, you get a serious pushback, organized pushback.
Close to losing your life.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you serious right now? This is where we're at. So I'm saying, yes, you have police doing lawful work and executing them duties properly.
Yes.
But we have to focus on the ones that are not. And those are the ones that we're talking about. So to come out and push back in the way like just not talk, just a stand up.
Right.
I can't live in a state like that.
Your actions as activists, as human rights activists, as civil rights activists, your actions are criminalized by the very
state that you are in. What can go so?
Let me take a break.
They don't kicking. You're born. You're born as a person. You have human rights. Let's start there. We're breaking it down like that. It means that for any of these rights to be infringed upon by the state or otherwise and taken away, or whatever the infringement may be, there are provisions for that then. State of war, emergency, that's where you hear say, okay, you can't move up and down when you have a state of emergency, freedom of movement curtailed. But other than that, the guarantees still stand. So for example, when a security personnel is going to go into a community and whether it's their bullet, say it's their bullet, kill a child, it has to be that you have to, it's like, how do you then negotiate his right to life and you doing your work? How do you do that? How do you randomly, and I'm trying as best as I can so that the population can understand what I'm saying. You can't just take away somebody's life without a justification. I saw the law say. And if you do that, it means it's a breach. In the same way, you can't just come take with somebody property unless there's a justification and then there's normal compensation and all of these things. These are things in the Constitution.
So what your justification is that there's shootout between police and gunman, the baby is collateral damage.
But what's the duty of care? Because we don't know about no collateral damage in your constitutional, right? What's the duty of care that you take? Because if you are shooting randomly, 40, 50 shot, at some point it must come in your head say, you may kill people, especially when a board house you deal with. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying we have to, even the state, even if the state didn't consider what I'm saying now, and even if the security forces didn't consider what I'm saying, that's why I have force orders. A lot of things that we used to complain about when it comes to vulnerable population, them gone in a force order, no one police start to learn, so them to talk to people better. I have had to deal with some of these matters. I go down to St. Anne's Bay police station one day because of a report I got from one of my clients when I was at Jassel. And what happened was them said that's not supposed to happen because we got training on this. I'm saying it's a work in progress, everything. But at the end of the day, there needs to be a conversation now about how you deal with tracks and road like in a Mount CLM, in a Mobile, and in a Granville. And when you have a fire shot, how you have to think twice now about the person's constitutional rights to their life and the woman's right to watch her pitney grow and those things. So what I need is a better conversation inside of the security forces as to how you're going to execute your job and get your just result, but preserving the liberty, dignity, the right to life, safeguard of property, all these things that we're also guaranteed, that are non-negotiable and inalienable, so says the law. And I think that is my main conversation.
Well taken, and once again, congratulations, you are a disruptor. You come to disrupt this system. And I think it's really needed, it's never too late. So, welcome to the space. You've been doing this for a very long time, actually. So good that you've taken this up from a legal perspective. Finally, Nat, what does justice look like beyond conviction in cases like young Romain, 4 years old, from a constitutional and human rights perspective?
Peace of mind. Peace of mind.
Safe environment.
Yeah. We need those guarantees. The regular Jamaican need to feel like we not just hear people talk about these things, but it's at our doorstep too. I want persons, especially in the communities that I know the injustices happen every day, to know that they don't have to know a lawyer like me. What I mean is they don't have to know a Naticia, because I think that the family know a Naticia and they know ISAT or whomever they call upon in these moments.
I mean, we underscore again, that if what they said happened in terms of who did I run in what direction, that shot and those gunshots could have gone into your mother's house, right? Because it's right across the street, just on the other side of the road.
And I just plugging this to say, I heard somebody said, because I'm watching the social media space, some of them talk very random and I know nothing. I saw this former police officer or current police, not sure, he's on my page, saying I must open the door for the gunman. You know what? I said to my sister, some fret when I hear about the shooting because for my niece always left it downstairs open. You know what my sister said? It did open. It's the community.
And this is our community.
This is how it stays.
Yeah.
It downstairs it open. I am told. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So the speculations about who did have because when you hear about volatile community, them brand communities as volatile.
Yes.
People not trouble people unless you and them in a things in a them the community there. Me go in a Granville and dead it. What I'm saying is you have to know the culture and this is the last thing I want to say too, because I come right back around. With policing, you have to understand the culture. With anything at all. You have to understand the terrain. School people into the terrain you're going in. So the house them are close to one another. I go track on a road.
But hasn't Zoso and Zone of and so on been in those areas for a very long time?
Well,
in other words, you know the community.
Well, I would hope so. But I think I'm saying,
but this
different
ongoing
school of policing needs to
militarization
happen and soldiering.
Yeah.
And I think is my general conversation.
Yeah.
Because if it's not a Naticia, then persons need to still know, say, them should have faith and getting justice. Browning, as we call her affectionately, the mother of Romaine, Fat Man, didn't have to guess if what I got come out of this after losing a child. Didn't have to call an Naticia then, unless she needed an Naticia.
You're saying it would be systemic. The system would be
absolutely
in place that would be activated once this happened.
Even me being here having to speak should be a last resort, because we should be confident in a system that works for all, not just for some.
What kind of counseling has been given to the parents?
None that I know of. Actually, I was trying to figure that part out. I'm trying to do a lot here, in the sense of quiet things that I do a lot, by the way, without having to publicize it, because I do a lot of quiet groundwork, helping a lot of persons navigate what I'm saying right now, because this is such a public thing. I have to be very gentle with this process, and I have been so far, and we're holding strain and holding on. I know a lot more than we are saying.
Yes.
But the one thing I want to say, Kabu, I am seeing this through to the end. I am, and I have a lot of my colleagues who message me to say, Naticia, if you don't have time to do the civil part, when that part come, we will pitch in, and I'm so grateful for them. But I'm seeing through. I'm overseeing the process,
and you're seeing it through.
And I'm seeing this through to every single level, even to the international level.
My sister, friend, thank you for the activism.
Thank you, my
Thank
sister.
you for the work. Give thanks. Naticia Bohart Singh. Louis Farrakhan in this region, the Caribbean and North America, the Caribbean and Latin America. And he's also, the Trinidad representative of the Nation of Islam. Let me get that right. We know him as an author. We know him as a broadcaster also. He's coming in this morning as the former and longest serving manager of the Trinidad and Tobago national senior men's football team, the Soca Warriors. I'm going to go back to the break, but let me see if Dr. David Mohammed is with us. David, you're there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, brilliant. So I just wanted our listeners to know the hat you're wearing this morning. It's a total different hat. I don't think you've ever worn it on this program, but welcome. I have some more ads. Let me just do this break and come back.
Yes.
And longest serving manager of the Trinidad and Tobago national senior men's football team. How long did you serve, David?
Well, I served from 2007 to 2011, and then I was reappointed in 2013 and served up to 2016. I did 126 matches with the senior team, and I did a 1 month long tour with the under 23, which was in Canada and Puerto Rico for the Olympics, the Pan American Games, and I did 2 tours as manager of the under 17 team in Haiti and Honduras. I went to 27 countries in all with the Trinidad and Tobago national team, which would have included about 6 or 7 events in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. And so you're
including the final of 2014, where we lost on penalties.
So you're well qualified to look at the issues from this perspective, but also wearing your hat as a geopolitical analyst. That the FIFA World Cup that is about to be rolled out, and so many issues around this right now. FIFA has found itself in a very tricky situation, hasn't it?
It has, and I dare say that is nothing new. in my observation, and of course, I've always spoken plainly then, and I still speak plainly now, to me, it's often a matter of who is on the receiving end of whatever kickback there may be, who stands to suffer the consequences of decisions that are made. Mm-hmm. And it always has been like that, and it's no different now.
Mm-hmm. What would you say that there's a difference to the extent that the immigration issues, the issues surrounding immigration in the United States, where the World Cup will be played, a lot of the games will be played, that remind me, because I'm not sure, isn't this the first time that we're seeing this kind of a situation where there's so many challenges around getting visas? There are many laws that have been put in place. People and a hostile environment is being created, not just for players, but for fans.
Yeah, and let me make a build-up point to that, all right? Because, I mean, I've been looking at the World Cup since I was a child, obviously, you know, and I took notice of something around 2010. So Trinidad and Tobago, we qualified for the 2006 World Cup. And I remember Jamaica qualified in 1998. So from 2006, I was appointed 1 year after that. I remember the next World Cup was in South Africa, 2010. Mm-hmm. And I was really taken aback by the amount of negative propaganda in at least the 2 years preceding 2010 about South Africa and why the World Cup should not be held there.
Mm-hmm, I remember.
I mean,
that.
it was very hostile,
yes.
You know, media reports and very sensationalist. And also, you know, bordering on racist.
I know we covered it widely here too. We were pushing back at this in a serious way in this space. Yeah. I do remember that, yes.
Yeah. Now, when the World Cup did happen in 2010, many people were referring to it as the best World Cup ever. True. The spirit, the vibe, the zuzuelas, the sound, the culture, the songs, the quality of play, everything about it. Many people refer to it as the greatest World Cup ever. Now, 4 years later, the World Cup goes to Brazil, who, of course, would have hosted the World Cup before. Brazil would have won the World Cup more than any other team, arguably the most successful football nation in the history of the world. And there was a similar kind of negative hype about the World Cup being held in Brazil in 2014. And there were so many news reports and investigative journalist presentations and documentaries about how dangerous Brazil is and why they should not have it there. And again, it was almost like memories of South Africa 2010. Then in 2018, it came back to Europe. There were no problems, even though Ukraine and Russia, I mean, today there's a war zone there, but there were the hostilities there from since back then. But we didn't hear any complaints. Right. 2022, come back to Qatar. Again, all kinds of hype. I think you could see the point that I'm building up to.
I see the point
all kinds of hype,
yes,
and propaganda about Muslims and human rights and civil rights, and that they're going to arrest and execute gays and lesbians. It was insane. And about the alcohol not being able to be sold. Now, here we come to 2026. And to me,
yes,
there are much bigger concerns about holding the World Cup in the United States of America under President Donald Trump than there were in South Africa 2010, Brazil 2014, Russia, Ukraine 2018, and Qatar 2022. But what reaction do we see from FIFA? We give the president a FIFA Peace Prize.
Let me take a break.
And we see the president being praised and supported and congratulated in a way that's difficult to understand by most people who are observing from the outside. And all of these issues, one last point I'll make on this is that according to the FIFA constitution, because I remember when I was manager, Jack Warner was the president of CONCACAF, our region.
Yes.
And he was the vice president of the entire organization, FIFA. And the government at the time in Trinidad was pretty hostile to Jack Warner, who also was a politician. So we have our two main political parties, and the political party in power was antagonistic against Jack Warner. So much so that we had to move out of the national stadium for about 6 months because we didn't we didn't even use the national stadium for the first 6 months of 2008. It got so bad that it was brought to our attention, this is 2008, it was brought to our attention that if this continues, Trinidad and Tobago could run the risk of being banned from football because the FIFA constitution clearly states that there must be absolutely no political interference in the conducting of the sport of any nation. And just because we had a little issue with the usage of the stadium and a couple other things, regarding payments and so on, we, as a small nation, were on the risk of being banned for a period. But here you see clear and direct open interference and threats of the World Cup by a political figure, the President of the United States. And that, from my understanding, and I doubt they would have changed it within the last few months, but from my understanding, that is a violation of FIFA's constitution.
Let me take a quick break. I'll come back. Constitution. So that is out there. The president getting the FIFA World Cup for peace, if you will, and here we are for creating war. It would appear, but here we are now with visa restrictions, and the countries that seem to maybe greatly affected would be those countries from continental Africa, also from the Caribbean and Latin America. How do you think these immigration barriers reinforce some of these global inequalities that you just talked about in terms of where we see the football go over time, the World Cup, but when it comes to America under these conditions, there is silence?
Yes, and I mean, it's very difficult to envision what would actually happen when the time draws near, because even prior to some of the recent bans, citizens from Haiti have been banned from entering the United States, and they also tend to be quite spontaneous, quite haphazard and quite dramatic, that sometimes it's like today for tomorrow without any process or passage of legitimate legislation to establish these boundaries. So based on that, we have never seen anything like this before. I mean, the United States hosted the World Cup back in 1994, and it was quite successful. So we had Italy 1990, USA 1994, and then France 1998. And then for the first time in 2002, it was outside of Europe or the Americas, which was Korea, South Korea, Japan. All of them, I mean, the first USA World Cup, it went very well, uneventful, in spite of America always having immigration issues. Of course, at least those boundaries were clear up to the beginning and end of the World Cup. Now, it's a kind of volatile situation. And to me, what should happen is that the president of FIFA, Infantino, needs to make some kind of statement or attempt to give some kind of clarity or comfort at least, or some kind of concession to the fan base and the supporters, the citizens of these countries, as to what their position will be when the World Cup comes. He needs to be able to inform, because you have all of these FIFA committees. I mean, take, for example, again, me as a manager. If we had a game when we were in our last stage of qualification for the 2010 World Cup and also 2014 World Cup, if Trinidad and Tobago was playing a match, just one game, against either Costa Rica or Guatemala or El Salvador or Panama, I would go in advance and check out all the infrastructure, meet with the personnel, dialogue with the administrators, and ensure that there would be a smooth insertion of our delegation into their country and a safe and clear passage exit out, and that all logistics were in place. If that's the case for one game, FIFA have their teams to investigate every single possible impediment that could have a negative effect on any country that's participating.
And of course,
we have not seen that.
Well, that's a point. And from your own experience, and you've traveled to so many countries in your capacity as a senior, as a manager of the national senior men's football team, how do visa uncertainty and travel restrictions like we're seeing right now, how do stuff like this affect players, their mental readiness, whether or not them family can support them in terms of going with them and so on, and also their sense of dignity? We saw what happened at AFCON just the other day in terms of how Senegal was treated coming in, and they talked about their sense of dignity, and they're representing their nations, but this is bound to affect a whole lot of teams. This is what mental readiness I'm thinking about in particular.
2 points, but may I just say something very quickly about AFCON?
Yes.
Now, so we saw what happened in the final between the hosts, Morocco, and Senegal.
Yes.
And of course, Senegal, congratulations to them as the champions. I was backing Nigeria because of, that's a whole other story.
You're going to have to apologize tomorrow. Leave that alone.
But Nigeria did not qualify for the World Cup.
Yes.
But they qualified for the African Cup of Nations. And on the inverse, Ghana, who qualified for the World Cup, did not qualify for the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
But, so for that reason, I was backing Nigeria, but I'm very happy that Senegal won. Very, very happy.
Brilliant.
I mean, I just wanted them to beat Morocco for more reasons than one.
Of course, yes.
But I just want to say that what happened at the final must not be a reflection of African football, because people are using it again to throw these darts and brand and label African football. Those actions by those Moroccans and others should not be a reflection of African football, in the same way that hooliganism in England, for example, the 2020 Euros, when they almost destroyed a lot of property at the stadium and so on, and the racism that followed with the missing of the 3 penalties by the black players. In the same way, that hasn't been used to brand and taint all of European football.
And what we're seeing in recent times with the Israeli supporters. Yeah, I get a point you're making.
Do you know that they just fired the head of police who took the decision to ban the Israeli supporters?
Yes, I know.
From Birmingham, Aston Villa. Yeah.
All right, so we're out of time. So let me just throw one more question at you. Should FIFA and other regional bodies, whether it is CONCACAF or any of the others, because this is World Cup, should they challenge the U.S. at this time? Because these immigration policies that are currently in place, they are bound to undermine the universality of the game. There is a problem here from my own perspective. I'm discussing football, for crying out loud, on my program this morning, because this goes beyond the game. This goes to the heart of the geopolitical upheaval we're talking about. Also, when you look at the countries that are impacted, these are black and brown countries, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. So FIFA, should try to intervene. I mean, we cannot really see that happening. But as far as policy is concerned, the way I see it, 6 months away might be a little bit too late to move the World Cup. Might be, not impossible. But again, as far as I understand, the process should have been that as soon as these announcements went out regarding the tricky immigration issues, a letter should have been sent to the United States Soccer Federation, putting them on notice that if these issues cannot be resolved, we will have to move the World Cup. It's not a matter of interfacing with President Trump. Mm-hmm. It's the United States Soccer Federation, the USSF, that have to answer for whether or not they are capable of hosting the tournament without any kind of discrimination, unfair advantage or disadvantage, and obstacles against any one participating member state as opposed to another. If USSF cannot guarantee that, then that is a case for the tournament being moved.
Well, there is a conference that is happening in the United States in February, and it is called the World Liberty Forum, to convene global leaders at Mar-a-Lago to shape the future of finance and technology. And one of the main invitees and participants is FIFA. I think this is how we're going to end it, David.
Yeah. But can I just make one last point? You mentioned it. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
Now look.
Yes.
So we've seen the action against Venezuela. We've seen the action against Nigeria. We've seen the action against Palestine, and European governments have more or less sat back and either through their silence or vocal support have condoned all of America's actions. For the first time, and this is a great lesson for us, because for the first time, we are seeing Europe telling America, no, you're wrong. And what are they telling them they're wrong in?
The World Liberty Forum, to convene global leaders at Mar-a-Lago to shape the future of finance and technology. And one of the main invitees and participants is FIFA. I think this is how we're going to end it, David.
Yeah. But can I just make one last point? You mentioned it. You mentioned it.
Yes.
Now look.
Yes.
So we've seen the action against Venezuela. We've seen the action against Nigeria. We've seen the action against Palestine, and European governments have more or less sat back and either through their silence or vocal support have condoned all of America's actions. For the first time, and this is a great lesson for us, because for the first time, we are seeing Europe telling America, no, you're wrong. And what are they telling them they're wrong in? In going after Greenland, which is sovereign territory of Denmark. That is white unity. That is white power. In other words, Europe is telling America, you can take Africa, you can take Asia, you can take the Middle East, you can take other Latin American countries.
You can take
but
Gaza.
Do not touch Europe.
Yeah.
And they came together and said, no, we are standing with Denmark. That is the same kind of European unity that we should be emulating with Caribbean unity.
Or should the in 30 seconds, should anyone boycott the any country, any nation, any group of nation blocks boycott take a stance and boycott the World Cup in the US?
Well, you know what? That would be very difficult for me to support. Difficult. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I do not support it either. But how do you take a stand?
Israel is one country. Israel is one country that if they were there, they should not be.
Yes.
But they banned Russia. Russia were banned from World Cup qualification, which is ridiculous. Again, it's a conflict between Ukraine and Russia. You know, America and Europe have supported one side, but FIFA is a world body. They cannot ban one side of a two-sided conflict. But Israel have been committing genocide. And you to see the Board of Peace be established in Davos in Switzerland last week. Well, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, who is a member of the Board of Peace, everyone had to pay $1 billion to join it. He could not even attend the signing because if he landed in Switzerland by law, the government of Switzerland would have had to arrest him for war crimes.
David,
because Switzerland is signatories to the International Criminal Court.
We're watching all of this unfold. I'm so sorry that we're totally out of time, but please come back again and let us have another conversation about this. I think we have to broaden it in the way that you're doing this morning and to connect everything because everything is connected. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you so much, my beloved sister. Best wishes to you. Best wishes to my people in Jamaica, Brother Clive Muhammad, and everyone else out there. I look forward to being there this summer.
All right.
Without a doubt.
We'll see you. We'll see you in the summer. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. David Muhammad, wearing his hat this morning as the former and longest-serving manager of the Trinidad and Tobago national senior men's football team. By the way, I had a real nice conversation with the mother of Atto Bolden 2 nights ago, and she has promised to come on this program, and we're going to see if in a way we can get Atto Bolden to come on this program too. Fingers crossed. Hold it there. We'll talk about it.
Join the National Cleanup and Volunteer Drive. Let's restore our communities one street, one home, one heart at a time. Sign up at supportjamaica.gov.jm. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
Now, 3 minutes asking about the frequency in which we were vibrating, and I said, Big A asked me if anybody could do this in terms of the music, who could do it in Jamaica? And I said to him, Cat Core could do it. And I said, Cat, it's up to you. And just a few days after we heard of his passing, you know how much Third World means to me. It is, without a doubt, my favorite band coming out of Jamaica. As a matter of fact, my favorite band, Third World. So when I saw the news early, I think it was Monday morning, that was it for me. I sent Big A a text. I said, Big A, calm yourself a while, because I'm going to tell you something. Because I know this was like just after 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I had to send that text so that he saw that first, to say, take a deep breath. And then after that, I said, Cat has transcended. We've been trying to come to terms with it. My deepest condolences to his family, the entire family, the musical family, to his friends and colleagues. And we have on the phone lines right now one of the founding members of Third World and a very, very close brother and friend to Stephen Cat Core, Willie Stewart. Willie, my brother, greetings. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the program this morning.
It was my honor, and thank you for having me here. And such a, losing such a musician, human being, a reggae icon of Jamaica, Cat, is really a sad moment. But at the same time, the legacy that is left, is the silence is deafening, because when you realize you can't talk to him again, you can't say, well, play Cat. So automatically, within seconds, everything is memorabilia and a great memory, And it reminds me how much every day is a present, a present that God gave us to continue. And, if we really took that seriously, we would be more appreciative of people and make up for our differences and don't hold a grudge. It shows that we're nothing in the world. When your job is over, you leave.
You've known Cat. Let's talk about him a bit. You've known him almost all of his life. You've been friends for a very, very long time. Take us to the beginning.
Well, in the beginning, as I wrote before, we grew up as kids. Ligony. He was very young. I'm 3 years older than him, so he had to respect me,
Yes.
So when he was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I was 15, so he was coming on. He had his group called Alley Cats. I had my band. Well, I was in the band from Wilmers called Visions, and Ibu had his band called Rhythms of Mona. So we could be like football team. Each one cheer, all our friends cheer for us from each area.
Yes.
So we'll play at this church at Ligony called St. Margaret's Church. Mm-hmm. And it was where everybody go and you had the stage and you play. And, you know, being young, everybody want to be the best band. But we were all friends. Mm-hmm. Cat was more younger, though, because it was more me and Ibu went through playing with, you know, and thing. And then Cat would come up as a young group then with Alley Cats. Mm-hmm. And then the transition was that Ibu came into my band for a very short stint, and that broke up. And then we got an invitation to go into Inner Circle. Yes. The Lewis Brothers, it was how it goes, that Inner Circle, we were in Lane Plaza, and Ingrid Chin, I think is the auntie for the great artist there that won the Voice. Tessa Chin, yes. So, yeah, I think it's her auntie, you know. Yes, it's her auntie. And so we're in Park Plaza, and the Lewis Brothers were there. Me and the guitarist at that time for my band was there, and Roger Lewis said, "Hey, you guys want to join Inner Circle?" I was like, "Sure," because when we went and saw how much instruments they have, I mean, believe me, it was like a dream. Mm-hmm. So how it came about is that Ibu became the original drummer and keyboard player. That's how I know Ibu. Yes. And we started to play there, cut a long story short, and we started to play all over the place. And then eventually we played this place called Tunnel, which was at Ligony. Mm-hmm. It was a club, but a very big club. And every night we played like 3 times a week as Inner Circle, but we played all the modern songs. That was our history of learning. And Kat would come observe the guitarist, who was very technical. He was very, very good, you know? Yes. He's very disciplined. And so when we look at him, when play, and he started to come and get a jam. We call it in them days a bounce. So he would come on stage. And so it was inevitable when he was going to leave, Richard, that Cat would take his place. And then from then on, it was like a little baby brother. Mm-hmm. And he was always promising. He was there. All he was interested in music. He's like him, loved that his whole life. And the development was from where he moved from there, and his ability to pick up things quick. Mm-hmm. And Santana was his idol. Oh, you know, because we all had to play. We all from that age, we had to be playing in Inner Circle at that time. Mm-hmm. We had to be playing 15 new songs. We had to learn that week for the weekend of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We were the first group at that stage where the disco could play a song, right? Yes. And we would play the song, and it transitioned from us to and people would know the difference. Mm-hmm. So we had to be good at what we do, and then we transfer back to so there was non-stop. We were the first to ever do that. And the band was so talented. We had someone, it was like a joy. And then what happened, we started to play for festivals. Mm-hmm. We started to go to Bermuda and the stretch show. And at that junction, Mr. Lewis brought Stevie Wonder to Jamaica. A lot of people didn't know that, which is Rogers and Ian's father. Mm-hmm. And we played 9 shows at Carib Theatre. And when we opened, and when we got to sit down, we run down like kids and I watch our favorite artists play. Because I love the drummer, the bassman, the keyboard player. That was a big international thing, you know, big thing for us, you know. Yes.
So there was a seriousness and a discipline for all of you. Actually, I know that because we see that and we hear that. We talk about Third World being ahead of its time. Begie and myself had that discussion a few weeks ago. And you talk about, you've written about Cat though, and let me just quote what you said, because this is what you said to Bert Samuels. He had a signature sound which was instantly recognizable, often characterized by a unique expressive tone and the ability to evoke genuine emotion in the listener. You see that last line there, Kat? It caught right there, so. This is exactly what it is.
Yes.
Talk to us about that side of him.
Well, that side of him, as we developed, he started to develop his own style. Because as a musician, you have someone you emulate, and then you start finding yourself. Cat had a unique style, and because of he's a musician that could play many stuff. People don't realize that in Cool Meditation, he's blowing the most organ. He plays it. Once he take on something, within 9 months, he's going to get it. He played drums. Yes. He played bass on some of our albums. He wicked bass player. I mean, when I came to play front, he played the drums behind it, and it was fun. But what his seriousness of guitar work is like, especially solos. Let me give you, when I'm playing the back and I'm playing on stage sometimes, we're jamming. and we're playing around the world, when we're going to know that we found out we're going in, it's like you have to go in as a drummer. You have to go into turbo gear, because when he's getting that soul, you have to bring him from start, it goes up, and then you have to bring him to this crescendo. Sometimes he will play some different things. I marvel. It's like I become the honest laugh. I say, whoa, I'm playing, let me keep the beat. Because I said, whoa, cat, you know? And so the beauty about Third World was that when anybody in the band, because we were brothers and unit, if we had a bad night, everybody was upset. And if we had a good night, and if a person was like, we could play double instruments, we encourage. If the singer singing Bunny, everybody. It was a teamwork. Everybody push everybody around to get everybody the perfectness, that backing. And I've seen some tapes of everybody when they play. It's like there was some kind of invisibleness of everybody knew what to do at the same time, because we know each other so much. If it was inspiration, boom, improvisation is the word. Cat could sit down and we go there and we make it up. Like Now That We Found Love, a lot of people don't realize Now That We Found Love was a jam between Ibu, Ibu, Carrot and myself. We were really getting ready, because when you're going to tune the studio up, and Ibu in my mind know it was, and we played the beat, and the engineer it was unbelievable. He taped us, and we tried to play back, couldn't play it back. All of that arrangement was from improvisation. And this is where the difference is, when you play and God give you that inspiration and you respect it, it comes. It's not really us. We are just messengers. So Kat was a great receiver of this information too. It's like how you pick up now internet and things like that. For me, can pick up that and we just give God thanks, because the messages, you see, many people, there's a difference between the artist and the message. We are just, all of us are just messengers. The greatness comes from the Creator, who give us that power for the time to help people.
Now that you've said what you said, Willie, now that you've said that, now we listen differently and get a good idea of what you're talking about. Wow. So you said you couldn't play that was the first play, and that was it in terms of replicating.
Yeah, because we didn't know, and it was the guy called Alex Stadkin. He was responsible later on. He did us first, and he did this. I think it's Foreigner who did I Want to Know What Love Is. It spent hours. He did that, and Bob Marley was behind it. God bless him soul. He met an accident and died, but before that, he was there, and I used to see him listen for hours, sit down and speak. I said, what is this? And I understand, because we listen to the sound he bring. So it was just God's intervention. I tell you, because when he come, we said, what, you've taped it? And we listened. We said, wow. And then Cat on timbales. Cat is playing timbales because he came into the room and it was Mike, and he started with Cat there, Cat. And the solo is not me. It's Cat or Carrot. It's Cat playing the solo right then and there. And then he did the guitar solo on top of that. So that's the beautifulness of Cat. Cat was adaptable. Cat was like, he was in tune to music in a higher level, in that he could adapt any style or any instrument. He could manipulate it and put his voice through it.
Wow. Let me take a break. I'll be right back. We're talking about Cat Core. He's transcended, but he lives in the music. He lives in our hearts. He lives in the spaces, in the environment. I mean, this is just basically how it is. We take on the phone lines one of the founding members of a Third World, Willie Stewart. We're talking about Cat Core. Cat Core transcended last week, and a very close friend, of course, of Willie Stewart. Brother, where am I going with friend, Willie? I mean, you were brothers.
That's true. Definitely brothers, definitely.
Yeah. One of the things over the years, and I've had many interviews with Ibo about the founding of Third World and so on. You both sound so much alike in terms of talking about it. And one of the things that he always talked about was that period then when, the marriages started and the children started. So you, in other words, you are family. This wasn't just teenager. You developed and grew into being an extended family. Talk to me about those periods, Cat Core, as a father.
As a father, Cat was very loving to his children. Well, he always loved youth. I mean, you talk about our days at Zing Fence, when we had Zing Fence, and Cat actually had Shia and Kana and his son Stephen and his other daughter. He was very loving with them. He would encourage them. He went down to Zing Fence, and actually Gang Marley was the little you. I remember coming to France with us.
Yes, the Shepherds.
Yes.
Was it the Shepherds?
He came Shepherds, the Shepherds, yes. And they played, and they would play. And I think it was a Sunsplash. Cat went down early. It's like he was so excited by
yes.
Cheyenne was going to play, and he was very, very supportive of that. Today, I remember when I was in France with Gang. Junior Gang.
Yes.
And it was 9. And the man was because they were interested. And I thought they saw the pattern of that. So he was the proudest dad when that came along. He couldn't stop. And I'm sure he would play a lot with them. And when they play, he would have jam Sheppy here and there. And it was family, because all of us was a family unit. And forming the band, I'd like to clear this epithet. This what is so important.
Yes.
In the band, when they formed it, you could say that we were the extension of Inner Circle, because I was in a circle, Cat, Ibu, Bunny, and Carrot. And then Prilly came, and we went to America. Prilly was that singer before Bunny. But Bunny was also in a circle. Richie wasn't in a circle, but he came from Tomorrow's Children and things like that. So what happened is that we were there, and that bond as youth, we always promised each other. Bunny had to leave. I had to go in Barronley at the time, which I didn't really want to, but I ended up there. So what happened is that we talked about it, and we always said we'd have to come back together.
Yes.
So the willingness of the thing was really, the seed was planted then. When Kat decided and said, boy, he wants to become original songs he wanted to do. He says he was going to go, no, let's farm now. Let's go and show I'm going. And Prilly said, he talked to Prilly and said, let's go together. And Ibu said, you can't leave me out of that. I'm in it too. And so 3 of them made that move. And how I came in it now, I was helping Happiness, and I was working in my brother thing, doing Miracle as a sales manager. Yes. And I was always in touch with them through Colin Leslie and everything. In fact, we helped with certain things. And it so happened that when Colonel came into the band, Colonel Marshall was Tomorrow's Children, and they went to England and was very successful. A lot of people don't realize the issue of them when they went to England. And I caught them at Epiphany, if you remember that club. I think it's in Kingston.
Yes.
And when they're there, and I saw them play, they were excellent. They used to play American songs and Isley Brothers. And when you hear Cat on that guitar, wow! It's like the band sounded even better than the record. And the harmonies. And he could sing, don't forget to sing.
Right.
He was a lead singer, but his harmonies were the high. He could take In Found Love. You see him playing that high, and love him go way up. Hey, up. I can't sing, but he was excellent.
Yes.
All of this. So the band was this joy. They used to wear these big high heel shoes, That was the day when you're doing the penguin. You remember that? You would remember that. But when you do the penguin and you're moving around, and it was amazing. So when they went to England, they got a lot of press from there. But a lot of people don't realize that. You see, No Woman No Cry, a Bob Marley song.
Yes,
they opened that. They opened that show. They opened 4 shows for Bob Marley.
Oh,
and so people was asking, who are these guys? And then they got signed to Island, and then they did the album, the first album, the Green Album. That's when they did it. So when they came back to Jamaica, they played back Epiphany, and then they had a show on the Saturday. At university. Whatever happened, Connor left the band. So it's near to Christmas. I'm in the plaza in Christmas, driving, and I see Richard. Richard said, you don't hear. I say, hear what? He said, boy, you don't hear that, them looking at drummer, but they're auditioning drummers, and the one they might think of is the one you were training. I said, what? And he said, yeah, but him also said that the only man that come in this band without audition is Willie Stewart. I said, what? Where is the boo? And the boo used to live around Linstone, right? But in front of the Prime Minister. I go down there and I said, what, the boo? The boo said, I was just thinking about you, what, man? I said, boy, everything good. I said, boy, I was thinking of me and Kat saying, boy, you could have come in without, even without no audition, without love. But we know you're working as a sales manager. We can't pay you. I said, did I ask you for any money? That's how it goes. And I said, yes, I'm available. He called Kat and me, and boom. My show, boom. I'm in this. I have to learn 10 days, learn the thing. And my first gig, end of 1975 at Playboy, Oracabessa. And then within 6 weeks, we're gone to San Francisco, along with Prilly as our lead singer, because Prilly, that side, introduced Third World to America. 7 months, we had to live in San Francisco. And we went, that was a trip. And so that is where the beginning of that. And then we started to see other groups. We had to play every night, different places. We had to go LA. And man, and we travel by car. We have to stay. I mean, we really have to rough it. But the love that we had, that is why when now we found love hit. People thought that we were American group. This is our American group because they didn't realize we came from Jamaica because they saw us live there. You know, people say, "Oh, there must be," you know. Oh, that's how that came about.
Yeah.
You know?
We can't talk about Cat without talking about the cello, and I want to get there. But before we get to the cello, the Committed, the album was, I think a lot of it was done here. Am I right or wrong? Yeah, at Grove Recording.
Yeah,
was it Committed? Yes.
Committed album. Yeah, Committed was there with Stephen Stewart and Barry.
Right. That was in early 90s.
Early 90s, it could be 1994 or 1990.
Yeah, early in the day, 3 or 4, right?
Yeah. And the Jeffrey Chung was in that. So. Yes. Yeah, I remember coming sit down right there so where you were. It was wonderful. And coming in and seeing that was a trip because by the river. I remember when we were there getting ready and things like that. Yes. And just the atmosphere of Irie FM there was like it was inspired. Hold on, let me tell you how Committed, because I was the writer of Committed. And with Stephen Stewart. Yes. So how it goes, I forgot to tell this because I'm running in the morning, right? Because every morning we would exercise because we live down the road. And I'm running in the morning. And you know, on the jukeboxes, you can hear all of the things, music playing. And all I could hear is, I just want to be close to you, Maxi Priest song, you know?
Yes.
And I'm saying that, I said that you want to be close. You have a woman, you say you want to be close to her. But that's good. But what do you do after? What does she want to hear? And I said, boy, they want to hear Committed. They want to hear Committed. And while I'm running, I'm saying, I'm committed, being this love alive. I'm committed, being the things that I'm saying. I've got my life invested. And I run straight to the studio and I call Stephen and we start working on the song. I only had 2 verses and the chorus. And for hell, I couldn't get the 3rd verse. Anyway, because the Cat and Buddy loved it immediately. Immediately we went to the studio and started recording it. And then eventually we went to New York. Ibu came up with a final verse that was perfect. So actually, Committed came... and I had to think about my wife, how I would write it. And at the end of the day, give thanks to Irie FM. Because if I wasn't running that road, maybe there would be no Committed. So that's my connection with Irie. Congratulations.
Yes, and we met all of you. I mean, we were here young and meet you, hold on a little, hold on. You know, when we witnessed this album being made, right, and we met all of you individually, and this is when I had my relationship with each one of you individually. I remember Bonnie Roggs being a fall and Bonnie dropped me home. I remember Kata tell me to use one umbrella. And I mean, this was, to us, you know, it was phenomenal, you know, Willie. It was, but you didn't know that. You don't know, so we are shaking our shoes because...
No, but we had if you don't remember, we had a dinner. And somehow I remember the dinner. There was a dinner where everybody was invited. We talked.
Yes.
I don't think we played there, but everybody we had the dinner.
All were there.
Really so close.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that, and it was one of the lovely memories that we've had because we went there and we would exercise in the morning. You get up and it's like the mountains talk to you. Talk to the people.
Yes.
And that's what I say. Running and thing. The creation. That's how creation. That's another way we write songs. Sometimes we would write from a rhythm concept, but me running on the road is quickly. And that never happened to me before. And you hear it and you're inspired from another song. So I say, but you know, close to me. But what are you going to do when you're close to me? I'm fine, you know.
And you know, and
there's not taken away from that song at all. It's an excellent song. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's just a continuation.
Of course, and the continuity is important because what we did later on when we developed other programs at Irie, we kind of, and you don't know this, none of you know this, we segued from that, you know, to, all right, so After Love, Commitment, and Committed was a theme song for every time we did that topic. The program was called Sex Wise, and every time we played, we talked about love, commitment, we played this song. Committed, so it was like a theme song for us. So it worked for us in many different ways.
Well, great. So you see, and the connection because you felt that spirituality where it originated from. You know.
Let's just talk about Cat and the cello. But this is, you know, I think he played the first time I saw him play up front. I think it was at the concert here because there was also a concert here. You remember that concert, right? Right.
He did. Yeah. But really, the first time he really started it, the idea came out of we were playing in School of Music Hall, and he said, "Boy, let me try the cello." It actually started as Big Fence while we were rehearsing. He came up with something. And I said, "Boy, that sounds good, you know. Bring back the cello in." Because I remember saying to him, and he said, "Wow!" And then we tried it out, at School of Music, when we were playing at a concert. I remember it was like a Saturday or something like that. And the response was, wow. And I said, boy, that's a winner. And everybody said, yes. And then we came to you and played it. So it was the woodshedding was there. And then he just developed it, and it became a stable, what people look for. Like his guitar solos, that was another stable. People look for him. And he played cello too.
That was spiritual on another level though, Willie. That was, how do you describe that? Because I know you're very good with words. I mean, how do you describe this?
I'm not very good words, though.
Yes, but you are.
I try to be sincere with like I do. But what happens when he played the cello, it created a style of, and what happened is that, remember, he was classically trained. And Ibu, a lot of people don't realize that Ibu, from Ibu was about 16. Ibu had 8th grade in music. All he had to do is take an exam. He would have had a degree. So he was well, and having the two of them, and when they played, they understood on this level of classical. And you know the beauty about them? They loved, all right, you know, some people who get classical, they're, sure, I'm not going to lower myself to that. No, they loved it. Hiska, everything. Cat and Ibu loved if a little man in the country plays something, and Ibu had to teach himself how to hear and play by ear. He would tell the story, because when he would go, he would listen and wonder, when he had all this classical train read notes, he would see a man used to listen, and how could that man play that? And the guy said to him, listen to the bass and listen to rhythm and just match the chords. And he starts to master that. And Cap loved music so much that in other words, that within them, they were so humble that if a little man come on and play the guitar, and what humbled us too is the fact that when we played for all the festivals in a circle, to remember things, we have to go skitaboom, remember that, ta ta ta. So we have to have that help us to hear normally and play back stuff immediately for the normal layman then. So you could take that transport and remember stuff. So this was all of that groundation helped us to be actually to hear things and appreciate, you know, how to both play from a musical standpoint of musical theory and also bringing it into everyday, how you create on different levels.
How in terms of Cat's legacy, let me take a break, because I know with the cello and the guitar and all the instruments he played and his contribution to Jamaica's music and global music, I wanted to ask you about that and his legacy, but let me take a break and come back. All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. On the phone lines, one of the founding members of Third World, Willie Stewart, brother to Cat Core. And we're talking about Cat, who transcended last week. I'm not quite... Is that your phone? Willie? Because that's not me.
Yeah, hold on. No, I'm not going...
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay, all right. So let me just take it down a wee bit while you do that. Okay, brilliant. We're hearing you loud and clear, Willie. So Willie, I want to talk a little bit about Cat's legacy, but before we go into the wider legacy, the cello, for example, who do we have? Do we have, you know, who are you seeing who is another person who does this, and you're saying, we see the spirit of Cat here?
You mean another person in the world or Jamaica?
In Jamaica, yeah.
In Jamaica, I'm hoping that who else will be that person. I see there's a lot of young, I'm not in Jamaica, that's the thing, but I see a lot of young musicians that can carry through who, there's an orchestra that is there, because I saw where Ibu used them for Sizzler,
right.
Where you did it.
I
see a lot of potential. I see a lot of potential, and I think that, if I'm not mistaken, in Immaculate High School, the gentleman called Steve Woodham or something, he's developing a lot of the Immaculate girls playing classical, which is phenomenal. So I believe that the youth, that is where it was important. Legacy goes by, and this is when in 1997 Ibu and myself left Third World. It's sometimes when you have so much people in one group, it's like everybody have a different mission. And I believe that as one of the missions is that you become a dad, you become a teenager, you become a boyfriend, you become you get engaged, then you become married if you do, you become a father, and then you become a grandfather. But after that, there's a time when now you have to give back to the youth. Besides your children, you give to your children, but then you have to give back. And nothing greater than with music. And this is where the legacy comes in, that if it was in Third World still, it'd be great, we would move forward. But the thousands of kids that Ibu has taught with the School of Music. The job that is done is exceptional upon nobody.
Yes,
I mean, how we turn around and the respect for the music. Over here, how we have touched kids' lives and dealt with it. I would never have reached so much children and influence and talk to them. And by that, to me, when you work with kids, so you keep young.
Yes,
you keep
true,
and also, now I have to deal with kids from 6 go right up to university in my workshops I do. And you get to know how hard, because at my age, you're so divorced, you get vexed with them. But what I'm telling older people, stay with the children, don't give up. Because even if it fall on one ears, Alicia, because in my time, there was elders who protect you. They would tell you, listen to that, if you did something good, everybody will praise you. Cake, come down. If you did something bad, you get beaten from the top of the road, come down. Here, nowadays, in here, nobody, you're there alone. The children are, boom, you give them a computer from the age of 6, of earlier 3. So isolation, there's no communication. Man against the machines. So anyway, as you said, Cat, let's go back to Cat.
Yes.
Cat with family and his legacy. The legacy of his children, Cat Shire is an incredible bassman, following his father's footsteps. And Jumbo, the younger son, was playing with Chronics. So tomorrow morning, if they decide that legacy to move on, then in Ibu's family, Akiri plays drums. Yes. So all they have to do is brush up him drumming. So if they decide, but they have to decide, if they say, boy, do we step in now? We want to. But they have to want to do that. So who knows? There's talking over there. Who knows where or what's going to happen, the future of that legacy of Third World. We don't know.
Yes.
But let's leave it to God that it will move forward. But the greatness of with Cat now is that Cat loved what he did. And his interest within cricket, his interest in Jamaica, even the Order of Distinction. He's there every time. He's so proud. It's like him tying to Jamaica in a way that is phenomenal. Yes. Because he's so proud. He would talk, Ska, he would talk to every artist. He couldn't believe how Ska used to sound more than, and he would lend his guitar and his classical to anybody. He's there. He won. So eventually he started to play alone. As you know, he would play alone with a compliment and play for important things that's happening. And that's how he loved it. He didn't have to have the big instruments and all that. He would play a simple, like a cello, but it wasn't simple. It was like by him playing it. And even the last show he came and played with me, after he had that serious illness, and he came, the second show he played was mine with the kids in South Africa. And when he came up there and played, it's like he sat down and he said to the trumpet player, you play your solo, because we had a full orchestra up there. You play though. And he listened, and it was like he was taking in the music. It's like the music was feeding him. So I look at the violinist, you solo now, and he laughed. When he heard the children, him couldn't, and him say, shake him head. It's a wow. And that was the 50th anniversary. They never had a celebration there, and they got the it was their day, and it was on most of the music, everybody, past and present of Thurrow was there, except for Ibu and Prilly, because he was going through, that year.
Yes,
God bless Ibu's soul, and Prilly, God bless Prilly's soul too, So that was an occasion. And when I saw him play, and it was like deja vu. It's like I remember the days I was in Third World.
Was that the last?
Look at that.
Was that the last time you saw him? And when was the last time you spoke to him?
Yeah, the last time I played and I saw him was 2023. Well, we talked on the phone after that, but when we played was 2023. The concert was called "Love Will Always Be There" because Third World's 50th anniversary, and I decided that I was going to dedicate it to Third World. And people keep asking us, now that we found love, what you're going to do with it. And we always say, spread it all over the world. But in retrospect, when I look, I can see Third World now as a listener. And because I can see it now and understand what the layman hear. And I said, whoa. And I had to look and say, we Miami now, we're playing live. And I said, boy, the band was really ahead of its game. And then so I wrote this song called Love Will Always Be There, right? Love Will Always Be There. Yeah. And what came to me is that once you found love is constant. You leave love. You get negative, but it's constant. So if you found it, it's forever. But you can jump out of it and come back to it. But you have to keep it constant. Yes. And that was my philosophy from then on. And my message was to tell love will always be there. And to the people that came to concert, love will always be there. Is you leave it.
Yeah. No, we get this is it's phenomenal to put things in context. How would you like to see Cat in the first instance memorialized in Jamaica and Third World generally, the original?
Well, I would like to. I'm going to come to this very sensitive thing, sensitive subject. Ibu and Cat formed Third World. They're the founders of the name Third World. But we mustn't forget that in the intricacies of Third World and the thing, all 6 men them in the Third World, all the ones who, the face of Third World and the sound of Third World lies with those 6.
Yeah.
Because from 96 started to come right up to our last album, which was Live It Up, which, I mean, it didn't do a lot, but that was the last album. From 1997, that is the foundation. So what I would like to say is that the founders of Third World, Cat came up with the idea, and it was Ibu, it was the founders of Third World. And I think Prilly had something to do with it too. But the foundation of Third World, which is a different thing now, is the 6 members.
Yes.
And I would like to see that also, with everything, with the wars that go through, with everything, it must come back to the root. It must come back to the foundation, because everything, the chemistry of the 6 man can never be replaced.
Right.
That sound today, there's great musicians in Third World. In fact, fantastic. But the point about it is that the originality of what they play now is all of the songs from there.
And it is so important to make these distinctions, but also to honor, and as I said, to memorialize the work of Jamaica's great musicians, great artists living, and those who have transcended. And Third World falls in a category all by itself. We are still discussing in 2026 how Third World is still ahead of its time and how the music probably still hasn't caught up to Third World, and that's an interesting thing when you pass that.
Is because why? Come on, this is the whole thing about it. Third World is a spiritual group. Third World had love. We came with a mission, and the mission was to go out there and use music to bring world peace. This was our mission. We didn't know at the time of being young. When we did Rhythms Africa, we were rebels. We come together and said, boy, we're a musical thing and we'll go through. And that came out with, you could hear the song. We defined the 96 cultural, because at the time, Michael Manley, Cat's father, we were very into buy your products, eat what you grow, be proud as Jamaican. So every time we left as ambassadors going there. It wasn't, boy, me, I'm going to play this and all that. We left and said, boy, we have to put Jamaica on the map. And places we played, them never even hear it. When we go to Germany, we got places, and we had to live through certain things. So at that time, there wasn't a lot of international acts there. We were the first group that go at many places and put Jamaica on the map also. So it was a whole thing. So our whole perspective was to really excellence in music, practice, deportment on stage. Look here, experimentation, transmigration. People still talking as the best, but it was never taped.
Big A mentioned. It's funny, Big A mentioned that 3 weeks ago in the space, And this is phenomenal. What are we Big A? This is crazy.
Yeah, because guess what? We make this the make fashion. Louis Bennett. Louis Bennett said that take and make fashion. Well, that's what we did. Listen, we had an engineer from India, and we said, all right, we never have lights. We couldn't afford to buy lights. Remember, at them time, look at them things there. We take from Stanley Motor. We buy paint pan and then shine it up. We call it, join them together, cut it, and try to make light and put in 100 to 200 watt bulbs in it. We built a big column, iron column, and that is what we did. We used what we had, and this show, I'm not joking. We did Little Theatre first, and we went to Ronnie Williams. I'm not joking. We did about 35 shows at Ronnie Williams, and people came to 30 of the shows. So when we are saying it, when we say God bless Hicklin,
Fred,
he was part of the whole Freddie Hicklin, and this guy he came down. I still remember them, But anyway, he came and they helped her, and Colin Leslie was part of that, who instigated that we should do something different. And believe me, because when you look at Expand, I don't think you went to that show then.
No,
but listen, can you imagine?
Yes.
I can imagine that everybody saying Third World and everybody looking on stage, right?
Yes.
And then all you hear, Star, Gleaner, Star, Peanuts. It's just like on the street. A man nearly draw them gun. Because of the rats, we've been invaded.
I dumped it.
Wow, nobody rubs barefoot. It's 3 count, everybody. The entrance was phenomenal. People were in shock. And they would say, never have no tribal war. I would go on straight in. And the thing, and the acting was amazing because we had to take this for 3-4 months.
Yes.
And all of that came from, and the whole beautiness of it is that we all had a way of that automatically. If one did one thing on stage, you could feel the other person, and when a mistake happened, it was just boom. Yes. It was just another man cover. Wow. And so what I'd like to see for Third World is this. First of all, I'd like to see that all the families, because every time we did the album, each child that was born in that year, we would put their name on the album. So my children's names became popular in the world because somebody was unusual. And the other kids, same way. And our fans followed it. So what I'd like to see is that eventually that Third World can have a museum from the history to the present, showing that way that's there. And also, I would hope that it can get a foundation and eventually that a school, a musical area showing, because we were musicians, to show that and have the best teachers there that teach from a point of view of love, that balances Jamaica music and respect Jamaican music equally.
Yes.
It's funny because of the classical training that they had. It's like they could talk to people who were so classical and say, no, Jamaican music is important. And they moved forward for that. That respect everything. If it's just a bang, respect it, because that is our sound. And so respecting what you have, and it's proven in the world, respect it as much as it being a doctor or to be a musician, you have to study for it,
Yes. Willie, thank you so much. I'm not letting you go right now. I want to... You hear a little strain of something in the background here. Listen to this.
Something.
Now, what a beautiful, beautiful song. You know something, Willie? When I first listened to this, I sent you some notes on this. And then I'm listening to it now, and something just hit me. The spirit of Igbo and Bunny Rock and the cat. Yes. I mean, it's just, it is permeated. I mean, I don't know why I didn't feel this the first time in terms of that spirit, but I'm getting it totally now in this space. Now, we're playing this for the first time on radio here, and this is, if Igbo was here and Bunny Ruggs and Cat, I'm quite sure that they would have had a serious role to play in looking at what Third World could and can do in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. But you did that, Willie. Talk to us about this song.
Well, Kat said one thing. I remember when Mandela was coming to Jamaica, and Kat was in the square, and when he was free, Kat was there, and Kat said to me, boy, either one of us, any one of us that is there represents Third World.
That's true.
And don't forget that. Yes. And so I had to, with South Africa, we had played CBS. In CBS, we had played in Atlanta, and I never saw so much. And CBS News had it. Yes. So when I went to Jamaica now, about a week later, and he was coming to Jamaica, we had meetings, and I said, they were thinking of putting him in Halfway Tree Square, and I said, you can't do that. I said, thousands of people, maybe they're going, you have to go to the stadium. Yes. And that time, David Cole was Deputy Prime Minister, so you had to meet with everybody. Right. So it ended up going to the stadium. And I had to sit down and work and put the whole show there. And it was phenomenal.
I was there.
It just comes to that any one of us who come together, any one of us represent the whole. And so, with this song now, let me go back how this came about.
Yes.
This, I must say thank you to all the artists. There's 10 artists, and you can tell them eventually what was it. And when the song came, I was in Jamaica for Gilbert when it happened 37 years ago. And I remember when I went out over the spring when I used to live up there. And I remember when I saw it come, it was quiet, and I nearly got caught in the middle of the eye. And so 5 days before the storm, I'm calling everybody, listen, take it serious. This is serious. Take it serious. I couldn't sleep. Me and my wife were there calling. I made about 200 calls. You all right? Take it serious. Jamaica don't take things serious. I said, this is going to be the thing. When it happened, after, I wouldn't lie to you, 2 days I was knocked out. It's like I was there. I was mashed up. It's like Mr. Boy, and it's like tears. I'm not afraid to say it. Tears down my eyes, man.
Yes.
And I said, what can I do? God, what can I do as a musician? I don't have the big money to bring down a plane. But what is my... And so I'm telling me, shut up. Your role is music. Come, find something. And a friend of mine in the music business said, boy, let us write a song. Yes. So I had this song, and I said, listen to it. I had it in a different form. You go to write a song at the time, you get nervous and you don't have, but sometimes as a musician, if you have things to, there's a song for every occasion. Look at Bob, any occasion you get. So he listens. So this is the song. So what happened is that I said, okay. I call Robbie Lynn, who I rate as one of the greatest interpreters of music. Yes. When he can, from years from his small, he can take music of the greatest song that have all the elements and put it back in reggae. So he listened it and he put some of it, he sent it back to me because I wanted the song to be organic. I'm saying, if you're going to give people something, give them the best. If you're a cook, give them the best food. There's electronics is at the place, but not in this case. So get people and to feel the heart, it has to be every singer committed, every singer bringing in their vibration, because every one of those singers represent 5 million people. Yes. So I said, okay, how can I just say, if Dennis Brown was here, if Bonnie and them, how would work it? You go for strings. Strings touch your heart. Yes. So I went to UM and got the string orchestra for them to put on it. A choir speaks volumes to people where it comes in. Every person bring a spirituality because they come. It's like they're asking God have mercy. And so it took me 3 days after the storm. I've been working it and still working it. It's coming out February the 6th. And all the artists I sang, all the artists which you can read up there who is there, all of them. Leroy Sibbles.
Tell me the artists. Do you have the list? Davis. Yes, go ahead. Give me the list. Tell me the artists, because
you have it there. I have to remember my head.
Yeah,
so it is Leroy Sibbles.
Yes.
J.C. Lodge, Carleen Davis. I have to remember. Jem Myers, Wisdom. Hold on, let me go again.
Was that Glenn Washington already?
All right, Glenn Washington is on it. The great Glenn Washington is on it. A guy called Carl McDonald, a Wayne Harmon. A singer called, when you hear that singer going in between, he's one of my singers on original, but he's incredible. In fact, his story is what that is. He was in the emergency room when he came to my studio, and he came out to get it, and he was in pain in between. And the engineer said, which is Sean Wedderburn, said that the pain God give him is so he can feel the pain, because the way he sing it is like, and then there's also Alicia sings with Wailers. So all of these people give up the time. Now, I as a writer, nothing is coming, because it's God give me that song to give Jamaica. Every penny. The record company is going to spend money to promote it. So when it go there, every penny is going to GEM, Global Empowerment, to help Jamaica. And that's what we're going to present it on our show, Rhythms Africa, and in April 18th and 19th. So what I'm saying is that
all right.
Sorry.
So we have Leroy Sibbles, J.C. Lodge, Glenn Washington, Carleen Davis, Wayne Harmon, The Wisdom, Jem Myers, Patrick Ulysses, Pinkney. Pinkney.
Yes. Yes.
Pinkney. Alicia Marie. And Carl McDonald.
McDonald was a singer. Yes. All the others are Jamaican except for one American. The gospel is mixed with American, and then we have background singers. Yes. One is Spanish, one is and one is from Haiti, and the other one is Jamaican. Alicia double up. She sing with the Wailers. Let me tell you something. Yes. I've got 2 months to do it. Remember, JC's in England. She gave up. Everybody came together. So I'm singing this line and all that. But the coming together, I must give credit to the person who mixed it, because they had to sit down. Wedderburn did a fantastic, Sean Wedderburn. And to me, it's God. The sound is God.
It's
and my
beautiful.
I'm asking that Jamaica, I'm asking all the DJs, please play it. Give it back so it's comfort to the people.
Yes.
The suffering.
Well, Bigay just walking, so I'm going to hand it to Bigay, and then we'll ensure that everybody gets it. And it's going to be released on February 6th.
Bob Marley's birthday. Yes. And the video will be out by end of February. Because what happened is that this song is going to say, when you start off, you can be a difference in someone's life. In other words, how you can have faith. Faith carried us today, and to get that billions of dollars to pay back, is going to carry us there. It's only faith. And I want to do a song that can be a billboard. That's when someone hears it. Oh, right, I remember Jamaica. And those who are suffering will say that there's hope. There's hope. Hang on. Keep it there. Don't lose faith. There's just a spark. You can make a child who is going through changes smile. The people who brought it happened. That actually happened. People came from everywhere to give. And you can imagine you give some of them hungry and you give them food, you bring sunshine to them.
Yes.
And it's up to me. It's up to me and you. And that's what the song is saying. It's up to me and you to make that change. Nobody outside. You have to do it within. And listen, trust in love divine. Trust in God. Jah, whatever you call it. Trust in that because it will come true. And so I use love because it's a universal language. And I wrote a song. Well, not me, but God gave me a song that is for the world. Because all of us are going through. So this song can be a change for everybody who's going. World problems, we're in trouble. Now the place is freezing. Everything is happening. The world has changed. So we have to be in prayer mode. We have to know who we are. We have to realize that we have to spread love.
Yes. You know, we're totally out of time, but it's a beautiful song, and I'm sure that Jamaica will embrace this. This is, once again, just to underscore, all of the proceeds from this going to Hurricane Melissa relief. This was written by
100. Yes. I am not even touching the money.
Yes.
All my lawyers have been done that. Everything, and everybody sign off for it. It's a people's song. And I just give thanks. And I said, Jamaica, I love Jamaica. And I know we're going to pull through that. I love it. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Cat, me know Cat sit down. Me know all four of them are behind me because that's another story. When you bring me on, I'll tell you how all of this happened because it's a boo I was thinking of and something happened. But that's a story you have to bring.
Listen, you have to come back, and I know you're going to come back. And
listen, I am part of. Listen, I am committed. I am part of that thing. I am part of the pillar.
Yes, now that we found out what are we going to do with it. So look here now. So Bert Samuels is Bert is listening. So big up Bert. Thank you, Bert.
Big Bert. Listen, yes. So Bert and me went to school together, you know.
Yes,
and he continued school with my wife there. He was there. They're both our best friends. And when I came from England, I went to school with Bert, and Bert was out, heard me playing drums on the desk. And Bert, guess what? Bert is behind this because I know he's going to talk to me this week.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Bert.
We can really move
Bert,
it forward.
make sure so we find you. Bert, listen. Bert,
find him.
Yes.
Find him because I want his attention because, as I tell him, he's supposed to write a comment on this song because he's an architect with words.
You write it already, man. I bet you anything.
His family is incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Willie. Before you go big, go on big. And because
who's that?
Willie Stewart.
Oh, Sir Willie.
Look here, sir.
Big Willie, look here. He knows because you were talking to me about the explanation, right? You went
transmigration.
Yes.
And explanation.
Explanation. Right. Yeah, he was there. Big A was there, Willie.
Well, so he knows that. Why didn't you listen, man? If you'd be rich today, if you could have done video, we didn't have a track because we could remake it. I didn't remember half of it.
He said, "Like a schoolboy, I couldn't video it."
but we know the other thing. But believe me, that was one of the greatest things because even our manager that came to the show, there was a new manager that was going to sign us, Ulysses.
Yes.
And when he came and saw what we could do with that, he signed us immediately. And then we did know that we fell in love. We went to Nassau and things. So two things. When we did Now That We Found Love, we went on a retreat and that helped us and committed helped us to move forward, you know.
Right.
So we appreciate we love Irie FM and
love
thank you so much.
Yes.
You know, God bless you all and God bless Jamaica. We love you and we Cat any one of us.
Yes.
This I say give thanks because Third World would have done this if it was a day, all of them a song with this would have been done. So on behalf of Third World, on behalf of all my brothers, Richie is here still, and all the new brothers, this is the song. As Third World, I dedicate this song to Jamaica and the world. So as I may, and maybe our children will continue. If I go tomorrow morning, I go with peace because I realize that God gave us this song, gave me, as all my brothers, all of them shining in Zion.
Thank you so much, Willie. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Give thanks. This is a song. We're gonna leave it like this. Big A. I was just telling Willie. Saying to the nation really, how when I got up early morning, I said maybe Big A asleep and I come and check my phone and I say tell me can't transcend, and I said how do I send this to you so that it's not the first thing you see. So
it was the first thing I saw. By the time I had the opportunity to respond, I was bombarded with persons from all across the world, literally, who were connecting me firstly to find out if it was true and what my thoughts were on the maestro.
interesting that, you know, we have so much discussions about Third World. About just the other day, we gave him an assignment the other day, and which one of his friends told me that he took up, which was to reset the music that he heard and considered that seriously. That was quite something. Remember, we were saying, you asked me when we said we need to reset the music because of the frequency, of course. You asked, who do I think? I said, Cat Cole, remember? And you agreed that if anybody could do it, Cat could do it. And so we understand that he heard that and considered that seriously.
Yeah, man. It is a painful loss to the industry. Yeah. And, you know, we just want to send condolences to his family and extended family.
Once again.
I remember some very pivotal moments, significant moments in you know, growing up listening to Third World. And, you know, I just last week when I was, you know, speaking about Cat, I reminded myself that it is now 5 members of the band that have now transcended. You know, pretty much all of the
original. So it's just Richie and Willie are the only two.
And Willie, right. You know, I think Willie came on as a second drummer. You know, I think he wasn't the original drummer. You know, I think there might have been one drummer that preceded him.
From what he said this morning, so you're probably conflating with Inner Circle.
No,
because he went for Igbo. He went for Igbo. And Igbo and him went for Cat.
Yeah, I think I might have had my history a little wrong, but I think there was another drummer. But anyway,
it's not wrong, you know. It's because of Inner Circle.
Right. It was right there though. It was right there. I remember being pro-black, pro-Rastafarian at the time when 1865 came out, and it was an anthem for my tribe. It was, you know, my
your maroon heritage,
my clique of associates at that time, my clique of friends.
The Morant Bay War,
yeah, man, it was,
which would be anti-maroon, by the way.
Right.
So me take that back.
Right. So it was.
Yeah.
I remember the effect that it had, and you know, during the whole process, I know of growing up, Third World was like the soundtrack to my life. I remember going to Negril, if Willie is still listening, if you remember, there's a song called Dancing in the Rain, which tells the story of an experience in Negril when Third World was playing. Because I used to play Negril quite often.
He mentioned that this morning, yes.
Right. And the rains came down in torrents on that Saturday afternoon. And nobody no move. Everybody in the rain had danced like them just going crazy. And they wrote a song about it. And I was part of that too. Yeah, man, I was part. I used to follow Third World all over the place. You know?
Yeah, that's soundtrack of my life too, from high school. Good morning to Don Eaton, Donnie, who introduced me to Third World.
Are two persons that, you know, whose I grew up.
Yes,
you know, and they influenced my life and my musical taste in such a direct way that is not funny.
Third World was the only reggae band music that I could listen to in my house, being growing up in a Pentecostal home. Because when you play it, you could easily tell them, say, no, it's not reggae, it's not rock music.
Right.
It's not rock music, listen.
Right. Yeah. Raga music.
Yes.
Not the Rasta man. Yeah, I had my fair share of that. Probably more than my fair share.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, man.
And Willie's reminding me, because we remember the stage show. We remember that they had here. We both of us, we recalled also that they recorded the album Committed here, right, which I'll just stand up now. But he reminded me about the dinner that they had for us.
Yes, I didn't make that dinner, but I know of the dinner.
I was there.
Right, I am sure you were.
Yes.
I am sure you were.
I was so there.
Right. I remember the pep talk upstairs though, without you know.
Yes.
Apology.
Yes.
You know, they gathered us and
I remember that.
Yeah, Cat said, you know, we're adapting the station because
yes.
Right. Because if you remember, you know, just prior to IRI FM, Third World had recorded reggae radio station, rocking through the nation. Yes. Right, almost prophetic, right? Almost prophetic to the IRFM experience. And I think maybe because of that relationship at the core, man, they felt very attached to us.
At the cat core.
At the cat core. Right. You know,
but do you...
They felt connected to us and we felt connected to them, almost as if it was an anthem for us, even though it preceded us by maybe a year or so.
Exactly. Do you remember that Ibo looked out through the window upstairs? I don't know if you didn't do that at the time. I think you were. He looked out through the window and he said, reggae radio to reggae. It was Ibo first.
Yeah, I think so.
And then he also did the weather check.
Yes.
That's Ibo, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yes. I know.
So, I mean, boy, IRFM and Third World are one. But we just said that and done. So, Cat is ours. Like, Cat belongs to all of Jamaica, but we take it personal on many different levels.
Right.
You know, he was a friend to the station, a brother to the nation, a brother to all the way, and was really such a talented person. I remember the first time that I saw him play the cello, it was over there. And Willie was saying this morning that it was one of the first because they had like practiced it before and probably had a first playing somewhere else, but like in terms of a big stage. But you never come, right? Because you were inside there working.
Man, I remember the rain. That night I worked either 13 or 14 hours straight.
Right.
It because rained, Bob Clark, who should have relieved me, got drafted.
Bob, every time BK tell the story, you say you never believe him.
No, and understandably, because he was here.
Not only that, he was head cook and bottle washer and producer.
And that's why. I know.
Getting the thing together.
I know. He was over there putting it together. Yeah. So I got stranded.
Yeah.
And it was...
Those were the days, I'm telling you.
No, I tell you.
Yeah. I have to big up Kathy Owen because we never left for short shots, no way.
No time at all.
The shots are the shots, the better the show. Do you know that IRFM developed a code of dressing, what do they call it? Dress code, because of me and Kathy though.
Really? I didn't know this.
Yes, it was we. it was we. Ask Clyde Mackenzie. Because I remember when he called when I'm office and said, well, I cannot dress. So come on work. Anyway, that's an aside. But we really enjoy that show. Really enjoy Third World. Cat Core. You're going to be missed. But in spirit, man, I mean, the spirit is just as alive. I mean, the music is still here. The music is timeless. And you were talking 3 weeks ago about the extent to which they were before them time. And Willie said the same thing this morning. Said, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There certainly were. When you listen to Third World today, it sounds like they recorded yesterday.
That's true.
They're just as fresh as they were. Well, fresher than they were in the 70s and the 80s because
stand the test
a lot
of
persons didn't even understand this direction and this sound. You know, I know they spent a lot of time at Compass Point in the Bahamas. That's where
he mentioned that. Yeah.
That's where they recorded a lot of the material.
He did say
because the studios in Jamaica at that time couldn't handle the kind of sophistication that Third World had brought.
And he talked about
Ibo
being classically trained and Cat being classically
trained. Yes.
That's quite something. Biggie, I know I've gone 13 minutes into your time. Thank you so much for it. But can I come out with this? This is 2 minutes. This is a song that Willie wrote for hurricane relief for Jamaica.
I actually had another.
Oh, you had another. Well, you can play this later in the program. It's gospel. It's faith.
All
you
right,
gotta
fine.
have faith. So I leave it queued up.
So I'll tell you the song.
So tell me which one we have.
It actually is one of the rare recordings of Cat Core going solo.
I want that.
Instrumental.
I did not have that this morning. So give me that.
This is
yeah, let's go. What am I do? Let me first. Oh, oops. All right. Yes. So this is... Oh, thank you so much to all who participated in the program this morning. Thank you to Dr. David Mohammed, to King King of Ghana, His Majesty, the King of Ghana, who is here. Thanks to Natisia Bahad Singh, who was in the studio, who are we leaving out. Thanks so much to Willie Stewart, who was just online. Thank you so much to everyone who were part of it. And thank you for listening. Thanks to Rachel Okello, to His Excellency King Kwesi Daka, Ghana's Presidential Special Envoy to this region. Natisia, of course, Dr. David Mohammed, and to Willie Stewart. And this is how we're saying goodbye as we make way for the big A inside of a Sunday sunshine.
In January 13 and 16, by agents from the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency MOCA, the Financial Investigations Division, the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch CTOC, as well as the Montego Bay and Ferry Police. They are alleged to have carried out an elaborate and highly sophisticated multi-million-dollar fraud scheme between January 2023 and April 2024 through the submission of fraudulently obtained genuine documents and fraudulent identification documents. Operators of public passenger vehicles and their route taxi associations are being assured that recent improvements at the Transport Authority now enable batch processing within the same day of application. The update came from Managing Director of the Transport Authority, Ralston Smith. He was speaking Thursday at the annual Route Taxi Association meeting in Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Smith noted that the process has been revamped to make it seamless.
We have taken a deliberate look at our badge system, and what we have done is to revamp the entire badge process to make it seamless. So now, all the drivers and conductors will apply first for badge training. They will complete the training course, and we will issue them a certificate indicating that you are trained and now ready. You will use that certificate along with the police record and other antecedents required to make the badge application. As long as that is done, then the authority has the capability and the ability to deliver the badge same day, no delay. We have worked hard at it, and we are at a stage where we are proud of it. We want no more operators out there with a receipt holding up indicating that they would have applied for extended period of time and a badge has not been issued. So we're not taking the application before the training and the antecedent. Training, antecedent, application, badge.
Managing Director of the Transport Authority, Ralston Smith. Police officers in leadership positions are being urged to effect change through moral courage. The charge came from Supreme Court Judge Justice Simone Wolf-Rees while delivering the keynote address yesterday at the Constabulary Forces Officer and Inspector Development Program graduation ceremony at the National Police College in St. Catherine. 82 sergeants and 68 inspectors completed the development program and will advance to the ranks of Inspector and Deputy Superintendent of Police, respectively. Justice Wolf-Rees called on the cops to choose integrity over convenience.
True leadership honors legacy while courageously shaping the future. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is built on sacrifice, discipline, service, and courage. You now stand as custodians of that heritage, entrusted to preserve what is noble and strengthen what is to come. Leading the change demands what I describe as moral courage. You have to choose integrity over convenience. You have to choose accountability over excuses. You have to choose excellence over comfort. Choosing service over status.
She stressed that their conduct will define their credibility.
As Jamaicans say, one cocoa, full basket. Transformation is built through consistent, disciplined leadership decisions. Your example becomes instructive and instruction. Your character will shape the culture of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And most importantly, your conduct defines your credibility. Transformed in purpose. Leadership is not about power. Leadership is not about power. It is about responsibility, and service.
Supreme Court Judge Justice Simone Wolf-Rees. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says it will take weeks for overcrowding at the Mandeville Regional Hospital in Manchester to ease as the country is still reeling from the effects of Hurricane Melissa. Speaking during a tour of the facility yesterday, Dr. Tufton said Mandeville continues to accept patients from hard-hit western parishes. He noted that as of yesterday, the hospital was 78% above capacity for inpatient care.
50% in terms of outpatient care. So on average, I am told they would have 250 or so at any point in time. Inpatient, in beds, you're somewhere in the region of 350, 360 now. That's a significant increase. The logical impact of that is that people are in makeshift areas within the compound of the hospital being treated by the doctors. The doctors and nurses doing the best they can to treat, but these are makeshift areas. So in the hallways, in makeshift privacy corners, and I could go on. Those numbers are not going down as of now. They're increasing, and they are creating significant logistics and management of the patients.
Dr. Tufton said work is on the way to increase bed spaces at the hospital.
What we're doing about it, the team are trying their best in terms of clinical management to ensure that patients are treated quickly. Those that stay have to stay. Those that don't have to stay are sent home. So the bed management, the A&E management, very important. There's a facility that is being built to house an additional 30 to 40 or so patients outside, which we just looked at. And then there is the coordination between the staff at Black River and here to see, which we'll see, has seen some of the staff from Black River being here to assist and to bolster the response of the team that are treating the additional staff patients here. We still have to do some more. We have to get the primary healthcare system to be more vigilant out in the field, to do more home visits, to encourage Jamaicans to visit their health centers, maybe to adjust some of the opening hours to give more time. All of those are very important part of just taking a holistic approach.
Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Republic of Ghana, Samuel Huchizutu Ablakwa, is in Jamaica for a 3-day official visit. His Jamaican counterpart, Kamina Johnson-Smith, said the visit will allow for discussions on advancing bilateral cooperation.
The visit is not only a great opportunity for him to visit with the 54 members of the Ghana Defense Force who are here providing excellent recovery and rebuilding support post-Melissa, but also an opportunity for us to advance our bilateral cooperation, bringing modern elements to our deep historical ties. Additionally, building on our 5 decades of diplomatic relations, our meetings will, among other matters, explore more deliberate approaches to expanding bilateral engagement across trade, investment, health, education, tourism, and technical exchanges.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kamina Johnson-Smith.
Government is intensifying efforts to reduce murders despite a 52% reduction so far this year. State Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, says the Holness administration will not allow complacency to creep in.
Well, yes, the approximately 52% reduction in murders this year compared to last year. For the first few weeks of 2026, it is encouraging, but Prime Minister Holness and National Security Minister Dr. Chang have been consistent in saying we can't afford to be complacent. And the mindset is that the policymakers, the administration is consistently having another look at the suite of laws with a view of creating additional and better circumstances to enhance the efforts by the security forces in preserving more Jamaican lives.
The latest figures from the Jamaica Constabulary Force show that there has been a 52% reduction in murders this year compared to last year. As of January 22, 25 Jamaicans were murdered compared with 52 for the similar period last year. Shootings are down by 37%. Senator Fitzhenley says the government is hopeful that the successes of the security forces will result in increased compliance and fewer instances where the police are challenged and use deadly force. He states that the Prime Minister has been clear that the government expects the police to respect the rule of law in interacting with Jamaicans.
Dr. Holness has been clear. The administration expects that law enforcement will treat every Jamaican with equal regard, regardless of their station in life, even as they move to enforce the law and do so in a firm and judicious manner. What is clear, though, is that as a society, we have to bear in mind the rights of victims as well. And the administration has been unequivocal that when armed men take on the police and create menace to the lives of our hardworking law enforcement officers, we support the security forces in taking the necessary action in ensuring that they protect themselves and the Jamaican citizenry.
Senator Fitzhenley says 2 pieces of draft legislation which are before the Parliament are aimed at improving the justice system and delivering better results in crime fighting.
And it's not always about hardcore legislative amendments. Jury Act is currently before the Parliament, which seeks to make the justice system work better for Jamaicans. And the expungement draft legislation is before the Parliament, which seeks to give another chance to Jamaicans who might have run afoul of the law, with the hope that this kind of legislation will encourage more people to turn away from a life of crime because more positive opportunities will be available to them.
2 Clarendon men who were charged last year for transporting scrap metal without a permit have been sentenced. 59-year-old Owen Brown, otherwise known as Tony, and 56-year-old Mars White, otherwise known as Ironman, both of Maypen, were fined $50,000 or 15 days imprisonment and $100,000 or 30 days imprisonment respectively when they appeared in the Manchester Parish Court on Thursday. They were charged with failure to produce carrier's permit. The two men were arrested and charged by members of the Agricultural Protection Branch, APB, Area 3 team on Monday, July 7, 2025. Police reports are that about 3:45 p.m., police were carrying out mobile patrol in the Williamsfield community when both men were stopped on the Content Main Road in Manchester and the vehicle searched. During the search, a large quantity of assorted scrap metal was seen by the police. The carrier's license was requested of the men, which neither of them could produce. They were informed of the breach and later arrested and charged. The matter was mentioned in court 3 times before the men entered a guilty plea at the trial, and they were both sentenced. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the overcrowding at some hospitals in part due to patients with uncontrolled non-communicable diseases. The Health Minister made the statement while responding to reports of overcrowding at the Accident and Emergency Department at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. This issue was raised by nurses attached to the department who staged a protest recently calling for better working conditions. While commenting on the situation during a tour of the facility last week, Dr. Tufton notes that many persons are not visiting their doctors or health centers to receive their medication. He says when they fail to do so, an out-of-control situation occurs, and these individuals likely end up in the hospital or the A&E.
In fact, what we have found across the parishes is that even though we have quickly brought our health center services, primary health care services back up, we have seen where in some instances we're back up in terms of visitation between 70 and 80%, which means between 20 and 30% of persons who would normally visit their health center to see their doctor to get their medication are not doing it. Maybe they're preoccupied trying to build back. Maybe that's not a priority, but it should be. And what that has led to is a further spike, because if you don't take your medication and you need it, chances are you're likely to end up at A&E because you get an out-of-control situation. So part of the demand on the system, and I've seen it right across the board, has been persons uncontrolled NCDs and then ending up in the hospital or the A&E as a first point of contact. So all of this has created this backlog, and we're working through it.
However, he sought to assure patients and nurses that Cornwall Regional Hospital will be receiving a boost in bed capacity in the coming weeks. He reiterated that this will be done through the reopening of renovated wards and a dome facility.
The fact is, there is overcrowding. There's overcrowding in A&E because a lot of patients cannot get beds because the wards are under reconstruction and renovation. That's not something we can do much about, except that we need to get them back into operation. And the contractors are active, they're on the ground, and we do expect a number of those wards to come on stream. And over the next week, this week you will see some coming on stream. Over the next 2 weeks and 3 weeks, others will come on stream. And by the third week or so of February, we will see approximately 100 bed dome that will be placed just outside of A&E, which will add another significant capacity to ward space here at Cornwall.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. Minister of Finance and Public Service Favour Williams says customs officers are the frontline defenders of trade, handling billions of tons of cargo each year. Ms. Williams was speaking earlier today at the Jamaica Customs Agency Customs Week 2026 church service at the Church of God of Prophecy on Old Arbor Road in St. Catherine. The Finance Minister underscored that customs officers continue to ensure that goods are declared in the right category.
Our customs officers are the frontline defenders of trade, ensuring that the goods that are declared, they're declared in the right category, they're not under-invoiced, and ensuring that no matter what pressure they come under, that they always are going to do the right thing. Last year or the year before, something of the order of 2.7 million wharf tons of domestic cargo came to our shores in 866 cargo vehicles. And to give you a sense of the magnitude of that, one wharf ton is 2,000 pounds. So multiply that by 2.7 million, and you will see that customs handles billions of pounds of cargo every year.
Among the roles carried out by customs, she noted the importance of duties and taxes collected that help in the funding of vital services. She pointed out that despite pressure and an accusation made post-Hurricane Melissa, the customs agency has retained its integrity.
And I know that during the aftermath of Melissa, you would have seen customs at work. They came under tremendous pressure to get things out quickly. They came under pressure, and I'm sure you won't forget that time when they were accused, but they had the data, they had the videos, and they were able to demonstrate to the Jamaican people an unquestionable, the trustworthy way in which they do their work.
Minister of Finance and Public Service Favour Williams. In news overseas, hundreds of thousands of households in the U.S. have no power as a major storm rolls across the country, which is also leading to flight cancellations and road closures. According to the National Weather Service, snow, ice, and freezing rain are creating life-threatening conditions stretching from Texas to New England that could last for several days. At least 2 people died of hypothermia in Louisiana, with state health officials linking their deaths to the storm, and another death was reported in Texas. As of Sunday afternoon, more than 1 million households had lost power, according to Power Outage US. Meanwhile, more than 10,000 flights were cancelled, FlightAware reported. Around 180 million Americans, more than half of the population, are said to be affected by widespread heavy snow, sleet, and freezing rain, which is a dangerous phenomenon where cooled rain droplets freeze instantly on surfaces. Weather experts have warned that one of the biggest dangers of the storm is ice, which has the potential to damage trees, down power lines, and make roads unsafe. There are reports of more than 200 car crashes crashes in the state of Virginia as the storm moved into the state. And to end this newscast, here's a recap of the main points. Government intensifying efforts to reduce murders despite a 52% reduction so far this year. 2 Clarendon men fined for transporting scrap metal without a permit. And in news overseas, hundreds of thousands of households in the U.S. have no power as a major storm rolls across the country.